You know, sometimes I am jealous that I'm not a quirky white girl in this country because I wonder what it's like to have the privilege to be that fuck dude.
Oh, so fabulous. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Once again, it's your girl Dumebi Leah. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome. I do hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back. So you guys, I'm going to be giving you guys the podcast edition because I might not be able to film for a couple of days because I'm out of town, but I just have to keep dishing out the video, so you guys bear with me. So first of all, before I get into today's video, my usual disclaimer: this video is strictly for educational purposes. Please do not go searching out the people that I talk about in this video. Don't send them any form of hate comment, threats, or violence. This channel does not support any of that. So today we're going to be talking about something that everybody has been talking about on TikTok. Apparently, this very famous TikTok influencer, I think she's British. Yeah, she's European. She made a video, a very quirky, fun, video talking about sundown towns. And you guys, a lot of people are upset about what she had to say. So let me go right ahead and play her video.
I told like 100 people that I want to live in a sundown town when I grow up because I didn't know what the fuck that was. I thought that they were like the tiny little American towns like Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls, or like from Paper Towns when it's like it doesn't exist on a map for some reason. Like the cute American towns where there's like literally 20 people and they all drive pickup trucks. That's what I thought a sundown town was. I only learned this year off of this app that is very much not what a sundown town is. Why have cute name if not cute? Do you know what I mean? Ah!
So can you guys see the tone of that video? She was obviously trying to poke fun at herself and her ignorance, and that video received a lot of backlash and stitches and has currently been taken down. But of course, you guys know that once they have a video up, people are going to repost it and stitch and all of that. So even though she has taken it down, she definitely has no control over how far the video has gone and will continue to go. So this particular girl in question, you see that whole personality she displayed in that video. That is what her personality is. As at the time I'm making this video, she has over 4.7 million followers. So that should give you an idea of the reach that video got. So before I talk about what I think, I'm just going to go right ahead and play people's stitches to her video.
This white woman really posted a video to hundreds of thousands of followers and joked about the fact that she told a lot of people she wanted to live in a sundown town, thinking that sundown town meant cute, cozy, small town. And I really just want to know, who the is she friends with? Who the fuck is she talking to that made sundown town sound idyllic? That's problem number one. Problem number two is people using words and phrases when they don't know what the fuck it means. Because when you say shit like that, you say something not knowing what it means and it's actually really offensive, the person who receives it and is offended is expected to just let all of the offense wash right over them. They're expected to accept the fact that you didn't know what it meant and you didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, and that's supposed to be enough to get rid of the feelings. And that's not how that works. I was born in Mississippi, I was raised in Texas, and I went to college in Alabama. I've never lived a life where I was privileged enough to not know what a sundown town is or not know where one is around me. So there's no fucking way a white woman, anyone, but especially a white woman, could look me in my face and tell me I want to live in a sundown town, and her saying I didn't know what that meant be enough to make me not want to punch her in the mouth.
I think the most jarring thing about this whole Madeline RG, I don't know what her last name is pronounced like, tell me what it is that she posted it to begin with. What I have found to be very common amongst white Europeans, or just white people in general, is being very flippant about racism. There's racism, and then there's seeing racism being like, well, it's not that big a deal, right? Even if you had no idea what a sundown town was, you went and found out what it is, and you still posted that video being like, oh my god, I can't believe it. What is funny? Listen, I found out what a sundown town was like 3 years ago, and that's because I don't live in the Southern United States. But when I found out what a sundown town was, it was in the context of a sundown town is a town in the South United States where black people are after the sun sets. It wasn't in a, we're gonna go visit a sundown town. No, I feel like you always hear what a sundown town is in the context of its definition, right? But I'm not here to accuse her of actually knowing what a sundown town is and just lying about it for videos or whatever. What I am saying though is that her flippancy about this topic is very telling of what kind of person she is. And given this is the caption of her apology video, it just gives disingenuous. Her whole attitude is giving, I don't know why you guys are offended that I just didn't know what it was. I'm not offended because you didn't know what it was. I'm offended because you think ignorance is funny.
I told like 100 people that I want to live in a sundown town when I grow up because I didn't know what the fuck that was. I thought that they were like the tiny.
All right, if you look like me, we need to talk about this. Not about what a sundown town is, but about that video and her reaction to learning what it is. When you're engaging in anti-racism and trying to be a good ally, often you will be told that you are centering yourself. And sometimes it's kind of confusing to know what that means. It's this. She just centered herself in this conversation around what a sundown town is. She made it all about how silly and goofy she felt. How it's just, oh my God, look at me, I'm so quirky, I didn't know what it meant. She made it all about how she was so embarrassed about it. Instead of saying, hey, I learned this thing today, and I want to share it with other people that look like me in case you don't know. But as white people, we often do this. We take racism and the history of racism, and we make it about how uncomfortable it makes us. And then we want to talk to people of color, specifically Black women, about how uncomfortable we are, about how bad we feel. Stop it. Sit down, journal about it. Don't post shit like this.
Like me being able to say sorry.
Some of you guys are dragging it.
You know what frustrates me about British people? It's the fact that there's always an excuse for why you didn't know something. When I had to learn about King George first to the fourth, Queen Elizabeth, Victoria, I can give you a summary about all of it, all of your history from ever. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to something that is like traumatic to like African Americans or Black people, it's a quirky joke. Y'all always make fun of our trauma as if it's a quirky joke. School unaliving sundown towns now. Even worse with this video is this isn't your place to talk about. We're not dragging anything and it's none of your business. Black British people, not to generalize, don't always like us anyways. And then you want to interject and offend a white woman? For what? I have hundreds of videos of Black people communicating why they're pissed off about the context of this video, the existence of this video, and how this video represents a lot of white people about how they don't know about something that quite literally still affects us. This is a map of all the sundown towns that are historically archived and recorded that still exist in America. This is the East Coast. This is the Midwest. You see how all of that red represents towns that most likely I would be unalived if I were to ever step foot in there, much less at night, much less by accident, because I don't have enough gas in my fucking car, or my car breaks down. More over here in the western side of the Midwest, last but certainly not least the West Coast. And what y'all don't realize is that by poking fun of our trauma and by discussing it as if this is some quirky fun thing that you just so happen to find out now is fucking ignorant, because right now somebody's dealing with that issue. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's trying to figure out if they can stop there for gas lest they be lynched. They're simply existing. You might say, oh well, she's not saying that it's okay, she's not defending it, she's not whatever. You're dragging it, right? You're dragging it. At the end of the day, all of this requires one Google search. Granted, you have, I don't know, internet. What's the funniest part is she has a whole Black boyfriend. Now you might be like, well, he's British, that doesn't count. Why would he know? African American, he's just Black British. I don't know how many times y'all need to hear this, so I'll say it one more time. The racist that Black people experience across the diaspora is all important. Doesn't matter if you don't live in America. You should know about some very basic fucking concepts. If you don't know, then the last thing you should do is come on the internet, tell us about your ignorance, laugh it off like it's a joke, and center yourself as a white woman around your ignorance and be like, tee-hee, it's so funny, I happen to not know, that's so embarrassing. Now what's embarrassing is that you're allowed to be ignorant. You're allowed to not know because it doesn't affect you. Whether you're in Britain or not, it really doesn't matter. The concept of ethnic exclusion, and that's not unique to America. I don't know where you guys get these concepts from, as if that shit doesn't happen like that in Britain either, albeit not named sundown towns, but I'm sure Britain has their own version of ethnic exclusion because y'all live in a fucking racist country too, and we know that it happens across the diaspora for Black people and brown people everywhere anyways. So what are we getting at here?
For those of you who don't know, Madeline RG is getting cancelled at the minute, and I thought I would inform you guys on what's going on and give my opinion on it. I personally like her content, like I watch her content. I think I even followed her before this whole situation. But anyway, she has like 3 point something million followers or 4.7 million followers, and she's also going out with Central C, who's obviously one of the biggest rappers in the UK, maybe possibly even the world at the minute, as he just did a freshman cypher. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, she's popping. So yesterday or 2 days ago, she did a TikTok talking about how when she was younger she would always tell people she wants to live in a sundown town, and then she learned what sundown town is, and you know, she was embarrassed at the fact that she'd been going around telling people she wants to live in that sort of town for years. For those of you who don't know what a sundown town is, a quick Google search would help you out, but I'm here to inform the people that a sundown town is these towns in America, mostly the South, where it's all white people, right? They still exist to this day, can I just say that, where after the sun went down, if a black person was seen, it was like a free-for-all. It was like no black people are allowed in these towns after sundown. They would lynch, stab black people, multiple, like there are an uncountable amount of deaths of black people in these sundown towns, where they would be stuck with no way home and end up getting murdered just for walking in these towns. I've seen a lot of people defend Madeline, but their defense does not make sense. They're saying, oh, you know, we're British, we don't know what a sundown town is, you know, it's not her fault, how are we meant to know, these Americans and their bloody 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 blah. The issue is not that she didn't know what a sundown town is. I wouldn't expect someone like Madeline RG to know what a sundown town is. She is not going to be affected by that. That is not her history. A lot of people are ignorant to history that doesn't impact them, so she wouldn't know that. I personally have known what a sundown town is for years because that's my history. That could possibly impact me, and I like to be informed about things, but not everyone is the same. The issue arises that she said in the TikTok she now knows what a sundown town is, and she was laughing. And that's what is offending people. The fact that you now know, okay, black people were getting lynched and, you know, hung up in these towns, and you thought it was a good idea, so you sit down in front of your phone, share the fact that you were ignorant to the fact that, you know, black people were getting lynched and killed in these towns, and then you laughed about it. I personally don't believe that she was laughing at the whole situation, at what a sundown town is, but I do believe that she is ignorant. I don't like to say it, but Madeline RG represents a demographic of people, not just in this country, but in this world, who live in a bubble of privilege and ignorance, that they didn't have to hear about, you know, their people getting lynched alive, and that they don't even have to inform themselves of something like that, just in case, you know, they're ever visiting America and they run into a sundown town. And her ignorance is fine. Her ignorance is absolutely fine. But the problem is that she came on the internet in front of millions and millions of followers and thought that that was something to joke about her ignorance, that she thought it was funny that she was so ignorant and so uninformed about, you know, the atrocities that happen to black people. As a black female content creator in this bad man UK, I take extra precaution into everything that I post. I have a fraction of the amount of followers that Madeline does, and yet still, I started TikTok when I was like 16. I'm now 19 years old, and I would hate for any of my followers to feel isolated and uncomfortable with my content just because they're slightly different from me. So I do take an extra step to think about what I'm saying, watch back a video, and then upload it. The fact that she recorded this video, watched it back, and uploaded it just shows another point of privilege that she has. As a black woman, I've been demonized and targeted since I was in primary school. I remember being in primary school and being told that I think that I'm in a gang. I was literally 9 years old and being told that I'm in a gang and I'm intimidating the white girls. And I feel like it was a wake-up call for me and a lot of people. That's why they're kind of upset, because you watch these people on your screen every day and you realize, you know, once they do something like this, me and you are not living the same life. Like, you are not relatable to me whatsoever. There is nothing that I can relate to with you. Well, you're not used to that. Their content is meant to be relatable, it's meant to be funny, it's meant to be enjoyable, but there's nothing that I can now relate to with Madeline. I like her TikToks, I watch her TikToks, and I would no longer continue to do so because I feel like the insensitivity has put me off completely, like 100%, and I feel disappointed almost.
So now that you guys have seen everything, you can see that a lot of people who are non-Americans are also making their inputs, and Americans as well are making their input, because I mean, this video is definitely about sundown towns that are in America, right? So now, for my own point of view, two things things are very glaring in this video. There are two things that I want to point out. First of all is the level of ignorance that a lot of palm-colored people have to history and things that are happening in other parts of the world aside where they are. It is funny how as black people we know more about palm-colored people and what's going on with them, about how they operate, about their history. You know, we're in Nigeria here learning about the Queen of England and the King of England and stuff like that. And they over there know little or nothing. I mean, they think Africa is a whole country when it's a whole continent, you know. So the amount of ignorance a lot of these palm color people have in these Western countries is beyond me. So that is the first point. The second thing that I want to talk about is how is it possible that she heard the term sundown town? What context did she hear it in? Because I cannot believe you hear the term sundown town in a positive context. She's trying to have us believe that she became so into sundown towns and obsessed with it that she started telling people, anyone who cared to listen, that she wants to live in a sundown town without having done research about it. And okay, all the people that she told, nobody ever asked her or even pointed it out to her what a sundown town could be. She never at any point had reason to do research about what a sundown town was. So now I understand a lot of people don't know what a sundown town is. Hey, I've done a video about it before, this particular video, and even in the comment section I could see even Americans talking about how they don't know what a sundown town is. So I can understand how someone, especially someone who doesn't live in America, might not know what a sundown town is. But from the context of the first video that this lady made, she's talking about how she now knows what a sundown town is. So my issue with her is not the fact that she didn't initially know, even if I feel like if you were so obsessed with it, you should have done your research, but let's leave that aside. It wasn't the ignorance that gets me. It's the fact that now she knows what a sundown town is. Her attitude in talking about it, the way she expresses it, like, oh, the only show of disapproval she can give as to what a sundown town is now that she knows what a sundown town is just the fact that, why did you guys give it a cute name when it's not cute? There's no show of empathy. There's no show of disgust. There's no show of disapproval. She did not express any of those emotions. So it kind of minimizes the atrocities that people who have been victims of those sundown towns have been through in the hands of people in sundown towns. A whole group of people, black people, have very disturbing history with sundown towns. We are talking about people being unalived, and for you it's just a cute story time. Now that you know what has happened, you just come and brush it off like, oh, why did you guys give it a cute name when it's not cute? That is all. There's no show of empathy. You expect people to watch the video and kiki and haha with you talking about something that's sensitive. This is just a show of how black trauma is entertainment to these people. That is what I got off of this video. You know, you guys let me know if you think I'm overthinking it, but that is what, you know, when you come across a history of people that is so painful, it's not something you come and talk about in such a flimsy way, try and make a joke about it and kicking about it like, oh, why is the name cute? You decided to bring it up. Nobody asked you. And that is the emotion you decided to express, to try and make a joke out of it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Then another question that I have, because the reference she used was Gilmore Girls, you know, that she thought it was a kind of town like in Gilmore Girls and all of those, you know, movies and things like that. So the question that I have, because I haven't watched that particular show, the question that I have is, are sundown towns being romanticized in movies? Is this what is happening? I mean, we already know that they are trying to erase black history. They are trying to whitewash history, right? We already know that. But are they actively doing this in movies? Because I do not understand where she said she got the impression of what a sundown town could be. You know, people driving in pickup trucks, you know, like in Gilmore Girls and some of all those movies that she mentioned. So my question is, are they actually romanticizing and watering down history in these movies, or is that just something she said? I want to know, because if that is happening, then that's really, really sad, because now I would understand why people will be insensitive to black history if it is being romanticized in all these movies and in the media and all of that. Then I could also see that it sparked a kind of argument where some people were jumping to her defense. These people who were defending her were talking about how do you guys in America expect people to know about your history? The world does not revolve around America.
I'm gonna use this comment to say something that I've been wanting to say for a while. And I've said it before about school shootings, but Americans don't realize the rest of the world doesn't care about your culture or your history or your current events or really anything to do with you unless it affects us as a global community. I find it so funny that you called me a liar, but it's just because you're not understanding how connotations work. Within your cultural context, the connotation with the term sundown town is that they're like murderously racist small towns. That's what I've gathered from people explaining. The connotation to everyone outside of the US is that it's some American thing. It's some type of town that they have in the US. Something to do with rural and small towns.
And then I saw some people actually pointing out to the fact that sundown towns are not just an American thing. There was this lady that talked about how there are sundown towns in Australia.
Sundown towns are not exclusive to just America. This was happening in Australia as well. Until 1954, Noongar people were required to have a pass to enter Perth City, and they were expected to leave by 6 o'clock.
In my other video where I talked about sundown towns, I saw people saying there are sundown towns in Canada, maybe South Africa as well. This racial segregation in towns is not just an American thing. Let's not forget that racism is not just an American thing. So it is not far-fetched that there are sundown towns. You know, they might be called by another name, of course, but it's not far-fetched that there are sundown towns in other parts of the world where you have black people or other people of color as a minority. Google is free. Information is everywhere on the internet, and for you to have that kind of platform, almost 5 million followers, for you to have that kind of followership and platform and influence and whatever it is, can you at least start to fact check what you say and be sensitive about when you talk about things that affect a group of people in a negative way? That is all we ask. So of course there are people who are calling her racist and a bigot for, you know, the whole situation, and she actually had to come out and make a whole apology video.
Guys, I want to apologize for the Sundown Town post before that gets to any more ears than it already has without, like, me being able to say sorry. I had been saying for years that, like, sundown towns looked like a really nice place to live because I did not know what they were. So I was trying to poke fun at myself for that because I'd now learned what they are. And I was like, oh my god. And I'd been saying it to other European people who also don't know what they are because, like, we just aren't American. And that's just not information in our heads, right? And then once I learned what it was, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I've literally been saying this for years. Like, I had no idea that's what it is. But obviously I wasn't recognizing in that video, like, how distressing it could be to hear someone just, like, joking about that when that's a very, and I didn't understand, very current issue for, like, a lot of people. Like, they still exist, and that's absolutely horrifying. And I can imagine that it's very frustrating to hear a white person joking about something like that when that's actually an issue that could be very close to your heart. So even though I wanted to poke fun at myself for, like, saying this fucking stupid thing that I didn't realize I'd been saying, it could easily make people who have suffered at the hands of this kind of culture feel very dismissed. And I would never ever want to make anyone feel like that. And I don't want, that's why I took down the video, because I don't want it to reach any more ears than people have to get this, like, unpleasant, horrible feeling in their chest before I can get to them quick enough to say I'm sorry.
Now that apology video, of course we knew that was coming. There's always an apology video, right? What got me was the caption. This caption that you guys can see, what does that really mean? What is that caption? I don't understand. So in the comment section you have some people that are like, we forgive you, and there's some people that are doubling down in the comment section that what she did was wrong. So the question that I want to ask is, in this situation with what this girl has done, if we're going to brush it off as ignorance, oh, she's not American, whatever, do you guys think it is just ignorance and maybe she just made an honest mistake in the way she expressed herself? Or do you guys think there's some downright bigotry, anti-blackness, racism that might have triggered this whole thing? I want to know what you guys think, because I think that's debatable. So drop your comments in the comment section. You guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.